Hello and welcome to my podcast, Little Girls Aren't Taught This. I am your host, Self-Love Lydia, former self-love coach turned business coach and mentor. This is the podcast where you get clarity on exactly what it takes to create an authentic business that allows you to scale with sustainability. I'll discuss why strategy meets self-love and spirituality has been the foundation of my success and got me to where I am today. After creating 2 successful brands and businesses driven by impact, I generated thousands in income through the power of authenticity, life-changing signature programs, and passion for what I sell. I am on a mission to show you what's possible when you lead with purpose, when you sell with passion and you create a brand that gets you mentioned at the fucking table. My intention is to empower you with raw topics each week on business, self-love, female empowerment, and spirituality, so you can create freedom in your life with a business that you absolutely love. So, let's dive right into this week's episode. Hello and welcome back to this week's podcast episode. How are you? I am back for another episode, and this week I want to talk about soul purpose. So this is something that recently I connected to, and I got on a call with my coach, and she was asking me what my vision is for 2023, and she was asking me what my long-term vision is, and I just started talking about this vision and like this purpose and this feeling and everything I'm going to go into in the podcast. And she was like, oh my God, I've got chills. I was like, yeah, me too. I was like, oh my God, me too. And the reason why I want to do a podcast episode on this is because I want to talk through that feeling that I got when I connected to my soul's purpose. And actually I wasn't connecting to it. Well, I'll talk through it, but it wasn't something that like I consciously planned. It was just, it organically happened. And then when I was reflecting on it, I was like, oh my God, like that's it. Like, I know it is. Like, it's just so interesting. So that's what I want to go into this week, how you can tune in and tap into your soul's purpose, how you can begin to really build that out, and how you can begin to like really take the steps to make that your reality, whatever that looks like for you. So before we jump into the episode, one of the things I want to talk about is the CEO audit. So you may have seen this on my Instagram, and I have created an offer that is going to be available it's available now, but like it's going to be happening up until the end of January. And the CEO audit is a 4-hour deep dive intensive on your business, on your product suite, on your edges as a coach, and on your vision. And what we are going to be going into is creating a roadmap, a crystal clear roadmap for success going into 2023. We are going to be auditing your offers and your strategy. And the aim of the audit is to come out with offers that are fucking stand out, like things that need to be tweaked on your product suite that you've got now, ways that you can lean into your edges as a coach even more, and really elevate your offers to meet you at that point, really get you turned on and excited about your offers. So when you're showing up in 2023 with that roadmap to whatever goal you have, you show up and you're fucking excited to sell. You want to sell. You want to market your offers because you can market them in such standout ways that it makes sales a no-brainer. And yeah, this is something I done in my own business recently, and it just fucking absolutely changed everything. I literally have like a roadmap to 100k, and that roadmap includes so much fucking impact, and every single offer is like stand out, and it's so me. It's just been a massive permission slip to just be me in my business. So that's really exciting. So that offer is available, and yeah, the investment is $499. There's payment plan options. So if you are interested, if you're a businesswoman watching this, you want that clarity, you want that connection, and you want that confidence, that unwavering confidence going into 2023, the link is in the show notes, or DM me on Instagram with CEO. So let's get into it. So recently I was journaling, and as you all know, I have 2 businesses. So I have the body image psychotherapist, one that I'm doing that I absolutely love. Still in the early stages of setting that up. And I have the coaching business. So I was really like leaning into this the other day when I woke up. I was just journaling about the things that I want to do, like, you know, what's important to me. And as I was sitting there, I just got like this feeling inside. Now, I'm not really going to try and articulate this feeling because it was just like a feeling that I've never felt before. And as I was sitting there just drinking my cup of coffee, like pondering, all of a sudden it's like my body became involved in what was happening. And I just felt this like overwhelming sense of like energy start to come from, like, it literally felt like it come from like my heart space, and it just started to like warm up everything. Like, it was so bizarre, like I can't even describe it. And I was sitting there and I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm meant to do. And it was just like a wave of trust washed over me. And it was like a wave of excitement come over me. And it was just like a feeling of, well, of course. Of course. And I literally was just sitting there like present in this feeling. And I was like, this is the thing that I am meant to do. And that is in relation to body image. So it's no secret that I've done a lot of work around body image. You know, with clients, I was very known as a self-love coach for my work with body image, my content, you know, how I helped women with body image. And then, as you know, my dissertation was around body image as well. And I've obviously had my own personal journey with it. And I'm very interested in it. And I know when I finished my dissertation, I remember thinking like, well, this is what I want to niche into as a therapist. Like, this is the thing that I want to niche into. And recently I've been really feeling into, you know, what do I want my life to look like over here in America? You know, what's my path? What's my vision? Because this is something that I done. It was like a joint vision, but it was my partner's vision. And, you know, part of kind of the last few weeks of feeling like totally like stripped back and really, really feeling like that sense of identity had just completely disappeared. One of the things I've been feeling into is like, what does that look like for me? What does it all look like for me? And one of the things that's been coming up is a PhD. And one of the things that's been coming up is doing a PhD around the kind of like an extended research of what I done my dissertation on. And if you listen to the episode on the last body image episode I done, solo episode, I go into all of that. And I was just sitting with all of this, like, what is it that I need to do? What is the direction I want to head in? And I've always said I want to do TED Talks. I've always said I want to have a book. And I kind of realised that it was going to be around the area of body image. So I knew this was what I was interested in. But I never fully felt like that feeling in my body that this was my sole purpose. Like, people used to say to me, like, you know, self-love and helping women with body image, like, you were just meant to do that. But I've never physically felt that bodily sensation and response to something. And when I sat with this like vision and I was journaling on what I need to do, because I was feeling a little bit disheartened. I was feeling like, you know, this is really what I want to do, but it really overwhelms me, the thought of starting, because my goals are so big when it comes to this type of stuff. And my goals are like, they're not just goals that I can go onto social media and achieve. That's part of it, but they're actual physical goals, like doing a PhD, finding somebody over here to accept me for a PhD and sponsor me, doing the research. Like, it's a lot more dedication. And then I was thinking, like, I'm even struggling to just like sit down and create content at the moment for my social media. How am I going to get to the point where I'm doing a PhD and I'm, doing TED Talks and all of these things? And I was kind of getting caught up in that cycle of the how. So I just like put my pen down and I was just sitting drinking my coffee, and then that's when that feeling came in. And it was just like somebody came in, like it wasn't me, and give me this reassurance of like, you don't need to rush it because it's gonna happen. Like it's going to happen. Do not rush the process. It's okay. You are meant to do this. And honestly, in that moment, it made me so emotional, like so emotional. So I had a call with Rosie, I think it was the day after, and that's when she asked me about the vision for 2020, and I was just beaming. I was just absolutely beaming. And she was like, what is it? And I said, Rosie, I was like, I think I know, like, I think I've found like my purpose in this world. Like, I think I know what it is. And I was like, I know it's the body image stuff. I was like, I know it is. I said, but, and then she said to me, well, why are we not working on it now? And, this is the thing, is when we have goals, right, we really get caught up in time scales of them. And I think one of the biggest things at the moment as well with the whole social media culture and coaching culture is that success is kind of being turned into like this overnight thing. And that for me is not the vision, Like the type of people that I look up to, like your Jordan Petersons, your Marissa Peers, your Brene Browns, like these are like the OGs. Like these are the people who are top fucking level in the field that they talk about. They are academics, they are intellects. And I know this is not for everybody, but obviously for me, like being an academic, like I enjoy that. I really do enjoy that. I enjoy the thought of doing research that's gonna have an impact. I'm very driven by impact, not just in my coaching business, but in my life also. Like I want to make a change and I want to create something different. And I know that takes time. I know in the psychotherapy world, the older you get, the more powerful you become because you learn as you grow. So I'm in no rush with that vision. Absolutely no rush. I'm still so fresh out of university. I'm still like a baby in the field, like or in this field of where I want to be. I'm still like a baby in it. And, the biggest priority at the moment is building out the psychotherapy Instagram. So for you, when you think about your goals and your success, do you have any goals that feel long term? Do you have any goals where you feel like you don't need to attach to when it's going to happen because you have faith and trust that it's going to happen? That's just an interesting question that came to mind because I think it's super, super important. And I would be curious for you to think about that, like what are those goals that you truly want, either in your business, your personal life, your career, like whatever it is. And are you putting time constraints on them, or are you opening yourself up to the trust and the knowing that it's going to happen? And that came, because Rosie asked me why we're not working on it now. And I was like, I don't want to. I was like, I don't want to rush it. Like, I just don't want to. But I was like, I just know that it's going to happen. Like, I know you're going to go on YouTube one day and you're just going to type in my name and a TED Talk's going to come up. I know at one day I'm going to have PhD at the end of my name. I'm going to be Dr. Lydia McCartney. Like, I know it. Like, I just feel it. And when I had that like really, really powerful spiritual connection with like that purpose, it felt even more real. And honestly, it's changed everything in terms of taking that overwhelm away and just knowing that even if I get a million no's, at one point a yes is going to come, and like those yeses are going to build and get me to where I want to be. And I'm okay with the journey, and I'm embracing that journey. So for those of you who don't really know what a soul purpose is, so soul purpose is firstly, to remember the truth of who we are and then share that with the world. So in your business, you might already be leaning into your soul's purpose. If you're a business coach, your purpose in this world might be to help other women build businesses. If you're an embodiment coach, if you're a self-love coach, maybe that's your purpose and you're living into it. And I know I speak to some amazing people on Instagram and they are living into their purpose right now. I see them every single day and it's so beautiful. And I think when you feel like you found your soul purpose, it's like it doesn't make things easy, but what it makes you is more trusting and more responsive to doing the things that you need to do in order to build what you want to build. And it's knowing that no matter what happens, like, this is the thing that I want to be doing. Like, no matter if I wake up and nobody buys my offers for 3 months, I still want to be coming on and I still want to be talking about body image every single day. I still want to be coming on and I still want to be helping women and giving value so they can build their businesses. And that's really one of the things that will allow you to tune into what you think your purpose is in this world and if you are leaning into that. And I think also when we think about purpose, when we think about soul purpose, it's like the more you get to know yourself and the more you really lean into your edges and the more authentic you are, I really believe that you deepen that sense of understanding and connecting to your purpose. Because, I've done body work for so long with women and I've never had that feeling before, like that spiritual higher connection where it just flooded my whole body. And it was like every single cell of my body was like, holy shit, this is possible for me. And this is what I'm going to be doing. Like, this is the thing that I know that I am going to be doing, and really, really holding that when I do the steps that I need to do. So one of the other reasons why that was amazing is because, if I get frustrated that I don't feel like I can make content, or let's say I'm having a day where I feel like I'm just fed up of making body image content for the psychotherapist, so I'm having a long day with clients, it's really, really reconnecting back to that and being like, these are all of the steps. And it doesn't matter if there's a day where you miss a post or there's a week where you miss a post, because this is your purpose. So if you're waking up and 95% of the time you're taking the steps towards that purpose, then you will get there and the opportunities will present themselves. And I think for you as well, it's using that as like a stronger guidance for whatever you're doing in your own life with your purpose, or if you're trying to find your purpose. And it's really using that power to steer you in the right direction and keep you going and keep you holding on to that faith, because it's so important. So I love that, and I am very, very happy that I feel like I found my soul purpose. So I just want to go through some ways that you can really start to connect to what you feel like your soul purpose is. And obviously there's no right or wrong for this, because everybody is different, and some people are, so you might listen to this and not be spiritually inclined, and that's fine. I mean, I guess if you are listening to this, then you will be, because I am, and we kind of always like that, we attract to the things that we're interested in. But if you're not, that's fine. So it's just about appreciating that it can come forward for many different ways for people. Some people are really strong visualizers. They can visualize a vision of their future, and in doing that really connect to what they feel their purpose is. Some people are more audio, don't really have the same sense to be able to visualize. So what I'm basically saying is we all have different unique ways of tapping into things, but these are just some of the ways that you can start to explore that. Or like I've said, you can start to strengthen that and explore it further, because prime example, literally done body image work for years and never felt that feeling that I felt. So it's like the more we lean into it, and just like sometimes just something so different will come up, or like a really strong internal feeling will come up that just floods your whole body, and you're just like, oh my God, I've never had this before. So it's just always carving out that space to connect to your vision more and really, really connect to what it is that you think your purpose is. So these tips that I'm going to share, you can do them if you don't know what your purpose is, or you feel like you know what it is and you're living it now, but you want to explore that and go to some more edges with that. So number one is catch those whispers of joy. So this is really, really important, because basically what this is listen to your internal voice and listen to that internal guidance system and listen to the things that really light you up. So even if you're a coach listening to this, and let's say you're a business coach, there may be like those subtle whispers of joy that come in when you help a specific client around a certain area, okay? And again, this has come into play in my coaching business, because the thing that lights me up the most is helping women make impact. It's helping women create standout offers that really have a ripple effect of change, because I done that in my own business. So although I'm a business coach now, it's like, of all of the different areas when I'm working with a client, that is the one that lights me up. So I decided to position myself and fully jump in and just own that and create my whole business around being an online program expert. Like, that is my expertise, and that is the thing that I want to lean into. Why? Because it lights me the fuck up. I love it so much. The same way when I was a self-love coach, body image or working with trauma was oh my God, I could have read about it for hours. I could have done it for hours. It just felt so cup filling for me. Kind of like, as well, I always think when you think about your purpose, sometimes you will be like, how do I know that? And you have no idea how you have this level of wisdom and knowledge, but you do. And I remember I used to think that with trauma. I used to think, how on earth do I know that? And I'd have sessions with clients where we'd laugh. And she was like, it's literally like you're in my head. She was like, how do you know that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I literally have no idea how I know that. It feels like a force bigger than me was coming through me when I was doing that work. And, this is another thing that you can really, really pay attention to. So those whispers of joy, or those times when you feel like there's something bigger than you channeling through you, like channeling that wisdom through you. So we've all had those bizarre moments and whimsical experiences that suddenly spark a sense of curiosity or love, magic and inspiration inside of us. So you feel that like shift of energy in your body. You feel that excitement. You feel that just like that. Like, when you just like, you're beaming, like that love, like literally like that magic is the right word. So most people just ignore them and carry on with their day, assuming that such moments were in their mind, imagining things, or perhaps they're simply in a strange mood. This is those whispers of joy, and they mean something. So my invitation for you is to go away and pay attention to what it is that gives you that feeling. What gives you that magic, that love, that joy, that curiosity? What could get you lost in a book for hours? What could you sit and read about for hours? What could you sit and help your clients with or do for hours? And you would enjoy every second of it. And when you find that, usually you're starting to tap into your soul's purpose, that bigger purpose. So second one is, I really want to talk about what did I say before with the moments of wisdom. I want you to become conscious of these, because usually these will happen in the subconscious without you being aware of it. But I also want you to take stock of moments in your life and journal around them, or go away and journal on them now. Where are moments where you've been like amazed at the level of wisdom and insight that you have, or the moments that you've had when you feel like something else is channeling through you, and start to journal on those and notice those and see if you can make a link between what you like when that's coming to you, and that will start to give you insight on your soul's purpose. And when you're journaling on these things as well, one of the things I would suggest is free writing. So I don't know, I've spoken about this a lot in my podcast, and I do this with a lot of my clients, and I'm a big believer in this. So you can go away and do, like questions. So the invitation right now would be to go away and journal on what lights me up. What do I feel my soul purpose could be? What are the moments of magic and inspiration that I can connect to that I've had in my life? So they're very direct questions. And what's going to happen is the conscious mind is automatically going to write down the things that it can sift through, the evidence that it has, the memories that it has that it can sift through, and it's going to start writing them down. If you free write, here's the difference. So before I free write, usually what I like to do is just close my eyes and connect to my breath, and just whether I do this like as a long meditation or just a few like minutes as a meditation. And then what I do is I will connect to my body. I will try to turn my mind off. So the conscious mind, I will try to turn it off and drop into the body. And then what I will do is I will just open my eyes, have a blank piece of paper, pick a pen up, and I will just write. And anytime I notice my mind coming in, and you can notice when your mind's coming in. So when I say mind, what I mean is conscious mind, the thought process mind, the mind that likes to make everything logical and rationalize everything, that mind, okay? That has all of this evidence available to get and likes to make sense of it all, the mind. So you can notice when that comes into it, because what will happen is you'll either come in and notice, you'll either think about what you're writing and think about what you should be writing, or your flow will slow down. So when you free write, what you do is you move the conscious mind out of the way and you tap into a part of like the subconscious mind. Now, granted, you're not going super deep with it, but what you're allowing is a stream of consciousness to come forward that's not interjected by thought or questioning or logic or rational or any of that stuff. So what you're allowing is just a stream of consciousness to come through. And usually when I free write, and people have said this to me before, my clients, it's kind of like the page will go blurry. You don't know what you're writing. So when you come out of the free writing, you have no idea what you've written, and often it can feel like it makes no sense. However, what you're allowing yourself to do is tap into a deeper part of yourself, tap into a part of yourself that is flowing from that subconscious, or what I always find as well is flowing from that internal like soul spiritual side of me. So it's like kind of like my human steps out the way a little bit, and that just like deeper part of myself comes forward. So set a timer for like 10 minutes or however long you want, and just pick your pen up and just simply write. And anytime you catch yourself coming out of that flow, just try your best to just drop back into it and write, because there's no right or wrong. And the reason why I suggest free writing is because a lot of stuff, or you open the floor to your subconscious mind, which means you open yourself for things to come forward that you wouldn't necessarily think of or you wouldn't necessarily go to. So you can get a lot more wisdom and insight when you do this kind of task. And just write on your purpose. There's no right or wrong, just literally write. You don't even put a title, don't even put a question. Just simply pick your pen up and start to write about your purpose. So it's very interesting to see what will come up when you do that, what organically comes up. And the more you do that, the more you really strengthen your ability to connect to that part of yourself, but also write without expectation. That's another big thing. Write for the sake of writing, not writing for the sake of answering a question. Because when you ask yourself a question, you're planting that seed in your conscious mind, and it's going to pull all of the stuff that it can, like collate all of the stuff to answer that question. Whereas when you open the page out, you open yourself up to writing whatever feels like it just comes forward. So in finding your purpose and leaning into your purpose a little bit more, that's also a really good way that you can do that. And it works so much. Like, I just love it. So the other thing that I want to say, tip 2, is go back to other parts of yourself and really connect to like your core values and the core gifts and the wisdom that you think that you have. So think about all of the different parts of you as well. So when it comes to like really finding your purpose, it might not be related to the version of you right now. So when you explore all of these different versions, like in a child, in a teenager, early 20s, who you are now, like going back and thinking about all of the all of the things that lit you up, all of the things that you enjoyed, because you might have a soul purpose that you could have been really connected to in your early 20s, but then you went into getting a job and, you know, that job made you do something else. And now 10 years later, you totally forgot that that's what lit you up. So really, really connect to different parts of you and see if you can notice any links. And then also, like, the core things about us usually do not change. So our personalities will adapt and we will grow, but those values that we hold on to, like, they make us who we are. You know, those gifts or natural talents that we have, or things that we loved as kids, or, you know, at any phase in our life, they never change. They could just be coming out in a different way. So it's like, an example of this, I think, is in my own life, to put it into reference, is in my early 20s. So I studied criminology, and then I went and worked with high risk female offenders, domestic violence victims, you know, all of this, and male offenders, high risk male offenders. The thing that always interested me in that job was the trauma side of it. Always interested me. Crime interested me so much. And I'd done a lot of work with trauma. Now, I've never done any actual trauma training, but when I was a coach, it was somebody that approached me and was just like, I just know you're going to help me with trauma. I just know you're going to be the person. I've listened to you talk and I just know that it's you. And I remember thinking, how the hell do they know that it's going to be me? Like, I have no idea, because I've never worked one-on-one with trauma before. And I don't even know if this is something I'm capable of doing. And I remember it was her and her mum, and they both said to me, like, we trust you and we know that this is you. Like, we want to work with you. We listen to the things that you say. And the transformation that we got was absolutely exceptional. And, you know, from that moment, I worked with other women one-on-one doing trauma work, and the transformations were fucking outstanding. Like, it blew me away. And this is where I was talking about that wisdom that comes through you, and you're just like, how the fuck do I know that? Like, I don't know. But going back to the point about these core gifts, is like, that was my gift when I was in my early 20s, and I was in these situations of, you know, helping women go to refuges and speaking to them and supporting them after they've got out of hospital for a domestic incident, or going into prisons and being that person, that support link for women in prison to talk to. And that was a natural talent. What just happened is it just changed how it was coming out. So when you, and also in the body image stuff, like, I want to get trauma informed to do body image work, and it's like, you can have a gift, it just might show up in different ways, but it's still a gift that you have. So it's also thinking about, when you think about those values, it's also going back and thinking about what have been your gifts in life, and are they coming out in any different ways now, or is there any different ways that they can come out, and any different way that you can follow that to build it into being the thing that you do for your soul purpose, like your job, like the thing that lights you up. So, because if you have that natural gift, it will be there for you, even if it's playing an instrument. Even if it's something like playing an instrument or being exceptional at sport, it's like, if you have that gift, like, does that feel like it's your sole purpose, and how can you use that with the world? And then, like I've spoke about, the core wisdom, that's like really important. And then tip number 3 is stillness, silence, going into nature. So really spending time just being with your soul, because if you are trying to find your soul purpose, what's really important is that you let the ego, or you give yourself time where the ego will step out of the way. That's like really, really important, because, you know, we need the ego and we need the shadow side, and often that ego will be the thing that drives us. You know, it controls our life. It's the thing that makes us do the jobs that we don't want to do. But we don't, you know, often when we do these things, we don't really have the conscious awareness. Like, I know I never. to think, oh my God, that's my ego, like making me go to work every day. Like it's obviously not, but you know, when you're miserable in your job, for example, your ego will tell you that, you know, you need to do it to survive, and this and that and all of that other stuff. So it's like when you allow yourself to step outside of that and you just truly connect to like your soul, you really quieten down like the busyness and the loudness of your everyday life. And, you know, we need the shadow and we need the ego, but we also need a break from it in order to just listen to what it is that the soul has to say. And that's really interesting, actually, saying that out loud, because I think last week the ego was very loud in terms of like overwhelm and how are you going to do it, and you're not doing anything, and what if it doesn't work out, and it's impossible to find somebody to give me a PhD in America. And then it was like when I dropped my pen and picked my cup of coffee up, I just stepped outside of my ego, and that's when my soul came through, and that's when I got that feeling. So I really think just taking like an afternoon for you to just silence down that noise so you can just listen to your internal wisdom is so important. And finding moments where you can do that regularly to explore what you think your soul purpose could be and really connect to that feeling. Because, you know, there's one thing to journal on these things and like actually have the thoughts, but what is gonna excite you and motivate you is that feeling within your body that's going to make you trust it, and that's going to make you want to follow it, because that feeling that it gives you. And then number 4 is an interesting one, because I've spoken about this actually a little bit, and this is something that I'm a huge advocate for, and it's having experiences with magic mushrooms. I started exploring these probably last year, and they have been phenomenal in terms of spiritual growth, spiritual healing, spiritual depth with myself, expanding my realm of consciousness, really, really tapping into just another side of my brain, my way of thinking, my way of operating. You know, there was a period, I think it was this year, where I was actually microdosing every day, and I was taking lion's mane, and honestly, like, I just love, and every single time I have an experience with mushrooms, I really find that I just transform, and I get exactly what I need. Like, it's so interesting. Like, what's really interesting is I know some people have really bad trips on mushrooms. I've never had a bad trip. Every single time I've had one, it's been profound. It's been beautiful. It's just been like coming out. There was actually a documentary on Netflix, and I remember I was watching the one on mushrooms, and I remember they were talking about the experience that you have, and they were saying it was like, it's an experience that you can't put into physical human like language of what you experience, because it's so in this other realm of like spirituality and feelings and visions and just trusting and knowing. And I remember watching that and I was thinking, that was literally my experience like this year. Like, so they are so profound. I remember thinking, this is literally going to be a day that I remember for the rest of my life. Like, this is going to be a day that changes the direction of my life. Like, it was insane. And actually, like, a month after that experience, I signed Catherine as a one-on-one client, and I got all of the wisdom in the experience, the journey that I had. So I'm not advocating this for everybody. That you don't. It's totally up to you, but I know there's a lot of people that feel very called to do it, and that's just why I wanted to talk about it, because I've never taken like any other form of drug, never. I think I tried cannabis like a handful of times, but not really. And mushrooms came to me, so I just got like super curious about them. And then I went to a ceremony, and it was only like a little microdose, and it just blew me open. like inner child present 1,000,000%. It was like an ecstatic dance ceremony with like a lot of breath work and meditation, and it was insane. I remember it fucking blew me open, and I was like, oh my god, like what is this experience? So yeah, it's not for everybody, but the reason why I chose to talk about it in this episode is because I think if you have a calling and like an intuitive nudge, like don't be afraid to follow that. And if you don't have an intuitive nudge, then that's absolutely fine. No one's saying you need to. But just knowing that there's other ways that you can tap into your purpose and you can deepen that level of like consciousness that you have, and you know, really deepen that level of connection that you have with those higher forces. And you know, in my family, fuck, they all think I'm some mad hippie, and I'm like, I'm literally not. It's just I'm so different to everybody else. But even if like a tiny microdose can help you with like can help enhance like visualizations or meditations, like make them way more like connecting, and you know, just trying these other like shamanic ways of finding and exploring your soul purpose and experimenting with other ways that feel safe for you. But that's the thing, they have to feel safe for you. You have to feel like you trust, you have to feel like this is something for you. Like, I am not advocating that you do this, I am not saying that you should do this, I am just simply sharing my experience and saying that it has massively helped me with finding my soul's purpose. And recently I keep having conversations with people who feel like they're at a crossroads and they say to me, I feel called to do them. And I'm like, all I'm saying is if you feel that calling, don't be afraid to explore it. So there's so many ways that you can do. I know a lot of people do ayahuasca. I've never done that. A lot of people do kambo. Again, I've never done that, and I'm absolutely not recommending that you do those things. But it's just to say that there's another world available to you that can allow you to tap into your higher purpose. So Gateway 5, it's also crazy that psilocybin mushrooms are illegal, but like alcohol is not. It just blows my mind, by the way. Gateway 5. Tip number 5, embrace the power of your self-expression. So this is another tip that I feel like is really important, because I am a creative therapist, psychotherapist. Yes, I am, which means I am qualified to use the therapeutic arts. And you know that last year I actually done a creative cacao ceremony. Beautiful. We had women like drawing their visualizations out. It was stunning after a ceremony, after a cacao ceremony. And also cacao is another thing that you can use to like deepen your connection with yourself. Like, it's so beautiful. You can make it into a ritual and you can really have that time and space to connect with your soul's purpose and use that as a way for you to explore it. And all of these things are just exploring yourself. There's no right or wrong. It's self-expression, and that is fucking beautiful. Like, that is the goal. Like, you want to explore yourself, right? And if you stumble across your purpose in doing that, then oh my god, that is just the greatest gift ever. And if you don't stumble across some big life purpose, you're still allowing yourself to express who you are and connect to who you are, and that's just beautiful. So again, another form of exploring things without it being words and without it being like the typical ones of breathwork, meditation, journaling, creative art. When you explore that, you use like, you know, you could use movement, paint, you could use art in terms of like materials, you could use poetry. I'm trying to think of all of the things that we used in uni. But when you like use art, you kind of tap into a different side of yourself. So again, you're stepping out of your mind and you're just letting that creative, artistic side of you come forward and speak. And you can use this to really, really explore finding your purpose. Like, what feels a certain way for you when you use art or you move your body, or, you know, and it's like allowing that part of yourself, like that expressive, really feminine part of yourself to come forward. You might not have like massive realizations in the process of doing the art, but what you might have when you come out of it is pieces that you can put together that allow you to start understanding yourself better, which in turn allows you to find your soul's purpose or realize what it is that you want to do. And the reason why art is so powerful, and that's why I chose to qualify in it as a therapist, is because art is a gateway to your inner wisdom, and it's a way to tap into and interpret all of this stuff that you've got inside of you and bring it out in a way where you can articulate that in colours and textures and movements and sounds and words, and you can bring it all together, and it's basically like an encapsulation of your wisdom, your internal wisdom, and that's just so beautiful. And you don't have to be artistic in order to use the creative arts, because I'm not an artist and I'm a qualified creative psychotherapist, and I had to do a lot of creative work in my degree. And one of the biggest things that was interesting that came up for most of us is this notion of being judged for our work. And I think this stems back to school, as children, when we would create pictures and we would come home and we would get them judged and all of these things. When actually, if you think about being a nursery and you came home with a picture, it doesn't matter if that picture was god awful, you were just so happy, and it was just an expression of you, that your parents would put it on the fridge. And then it's we get to a certain age and that stops being the case, and it stops being about just an expression of love and who we are, and it starts to be about, is it a good picture, or what is it, or how is it drawn, and all of these different things. And as adults, that's a massive thing for us, is that judgment of, are people going to judge what we're doing, and we need to do it a certain way. So you don't have to be an artistic person at all. You don't even need to have rhythm to use movement to explore this stuff. You just need to be open and, understanding that this is your interpretation, and that's the most important thing that matters. And even in my degree, some of the stuff I made, I was it literally doesn't make sense to anyone. But when people would explain what their creative pieces were, you'd really understand it, and you'd be oh my god, it doesn't even matter what it looks like, it just, you see so clearly the expression of who they are. And it was beautiful because it's so fluid and it's so open, and in that fluidity and openness you then open yourself, your internal world up, and you become more open to figuring out what it is your purpose is. So on that note, we are done with this episode, and I just want to finish on a little quote that is from an anthropologist, Bonnie Glass Coffin, and she says that, I have come to realise through my life's journey, the purpose of our human embodiment is actually to grow a soul. Like the making of a body during 9 months, soul making is also a process. For although we are born with it, our soul continues to develop with every life experience. Our sufferings are simply the secretions that add into its luster, like a pearl inside an oyster. Making soul is the process of a lifetime or several lifetimes. So the reason why I thought that was so beautiful to end on is because we grow our souls as we evolve, and the more we connect to ourselves, the more we grow who we are, which means it's okay that if you haven't found your soul purpose yet, it's okay if you don't know what your soul's purpose is. It's okay if you feel like you know what it is and you're living that now. It doesn't matter. What matters the most is that you are growing and nurturing your soul, and you are doing the things that make your soul feel like it has a purpose, that you are living into this purpose. And whether that's as simple as doing the things that you enjoy and taking that time for yourself, or having children that you absolutely idolize and you raise them in beautiful ways, or nurturing your family and being the best mother and wife that you can be, and that literally nurtures your soul. It doesn't matter. It's not, our soul's purpose is not always about finding some big sexy goal dripped in gold and cash. It's not always about that. It's about whatever it is for you. So on that note, I'm going to go. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review or let me know on Instagram what your biggest takeaway was. Screenshot it and yeah, share it. Thank you so much for being here. I see you, I love you, and I shall be back for another episode soon. Another episode soon. Another episode soon. Another episode soon.